my goodness. Okay. So yeah, it just feels like there's a lot going on in here today.
I think there's a lot going on in the world.
Yeah, well, that's
what's happening.
That is what's happening. So, hey, good afternoon, people. Don't mind me. I'm doing my normal thing over here. I am looking at all the things, and let me know if my sound is coming across kind of wonky. I'm looking at the Wi-Fi, and we are hardwired. So I'm always like, I don't know why I'm having a signal, but let me get myself together. Let me pretend like this is a professional thing, right? Let me do that. And I'm gonna play some music, and then we will get started. How about that? Good afternoon, all. Good afternoon. It is Gwendolyn G.R. Houston Jack. Whew, that's a mouthful. And you guys are watching. You're tuning in to Small Biz Bites. Hello, hello, and hello to all of you who are watching either live or in the replay. We are streaming live to LinkedIn and YouTube and possibly Facebook as well. And no matter where you are, we would like if you would like the video, share the video. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. We want all the things, all the things. So I want to make sure that we make that known. And before we go too far, we love our early birds. My mother is here. Good afternoon, Mother. Great to have you here. We also have David over on LinkedIn land. Good afternoon, sir. We always love having you here. And Mother, of course, sends her hellos to everyone. Before we go too far into what we're going to talk about today, before we get there, my friend and I, we were sitting here laughing at my kerfuffle of a setup right now. I'm just looking at everything like, I believe everything is working the way it should, but I don't know. I'm feeling kind of funny. We're going to find out after the fact. We're going to find out. But at least you guys are all here. And I do want to make one more thing noted before I get into this conversation, before I get there. I do want to make note that Small Biz Bites, we're on Amazon Music and Spotify and iHeartRadio and YouTube Music. And we are also now on Indie Soup Media on Wednesday nights, 7 o'clock Eastern. So 6 o'clock Central. Got to make sure I get my math right. So if you enjoy it as much as I do, because I enjoy it, I invite you all to come over there as well, because we have a good time over there also. So just know that. We got some more comments coming in before I talk about my friend. David says all the things, I like how Stacy's like, yes, it's a kerfuffle. I like how you are engaging in the comments, ma'am. Oh, this is going to be a good time for both of us. It's going to be a great time for both of us. Absolutely. Now, before I tell the people who you are, I like to do what's called the Fast Five. Are you ready? Are you ready? Maybe, sorta. It's not really a contest. I mean, there's no prize involved, but
okay.
I mean, we have a good time. So let me give you the rundown.
Is there a different type of time with you?
Yes.
It's always a good time with you, G.
Always a good time. So what we have here is I'm going to ask you 5 questions and you get to answer. Now they're either or, so that's good. But we learn more about you from this Fast Five. So number 1, summer or winter?
Summer.
Ew, you like the heat?
Mm-mm.
No? Well, wait a minute. Okay, well, why are we picking summer versus winter? Are you not a fan of the
swimming pools? Swimming pool, or better yet, lazy river.
Ooh,
like concrete lazy river, but lazy river, yeah.
Okay, I can get down with the lazy river. All right, all right. Let's go to number 2: physical book or audio book?
Audio all the way, baby.
Really, audio?
Yeah.
Okay, I have to ask why, because I'm a physical book person. Yeah. I love a good library.
Well, grad school the second time screwed me out of being able to read on paper.
Oh,
Can't keep my eyes open.
really?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Now, I will say this. Let me just go into this. And I'm going to dig a little bit deeper there just to see how many audiobooks you absorb in a month. My husband enjoys audiobooks, and I thought, really, like, do we have to? And I found myself getting really engaged with his audiobook because he had it out on the speaker. And I was like, what chapter are we on now? Because I want to know what happens. And he was like, so you're invested now. So tell me, how many audiobooks do you listen to in a month?
Unfortunately, because I am in face-to-face sessions with people a lot, I don't have as much time to read on paper or audiobooks.
Oh.
But the one I am currently finishing absorbing is a 13-hour audiobook that takes, you have to eat this one like an elephant.
Oof.
And you know how you eat an elephant, right?
You know, if you can explain me, so just yesterday or the day before, I don't know, I was asking myself, why do we, like, where did that phrase come from? If you happen to know, I am all ears.
I'm not sure if I know the derivation, but I do know that, you know, how do you eat an elephant? And it's one bite at a time.
One bite at a time.
Right? And so for this audiobook, I usually consume it in anywhere from 15 to 30 minute segments, probably 15-minute, because of the subject matter. It's called The Holographic Universe by Michael Talbot.
Okay.
And it's about quantum physics and how the holographic universe flows through all of our things, psychology, parapsychology, spirituality, religion, sightings of the Virgin Mary, you name it, how that all wraps together. And you have to eat this one in 15-minute bites because it's so thought-provoking and intense. Yes. But it's amazing. I'm going to listen to this one again. Let's put it that way. The other one that I'm going to listen to again is Brené Brown's Atlas of the Heart.
Okay.
Brené's an amazing author. And you can take her stuff in by reading. Okay. But Brené's magic is listening to her Texas accent, cuss words and all, as she reads the book. And I think you get something different from an audiobook when the author is reading it and you have those pieces.
I do agree with that.
Because imagine, what would it be like to have a book by Gwendolyn?
Girl, you don't want to know.
That was just on paper. You wouldn't get the brilliance that you are.
Girl, don't start it. Don't start it today.
I'm starting it. I'm going to start it and finish it, girl. I am going to start it and finish it.
You know, could I get myself together? I'm sure I could. I feel as if, Stacy, you have given me one more aspiration to add to my list. One more,
because I know that's an amazing list to begin with, isn't it?
Oh, you have no idea. It's a darn good list. But you know what? Believe it or not, I am chipping away at the list.
Of course you are, because that's who you are.
You start, you start thinking, what do I really, really want to do? Yeah. And how far can we take this? I'm going to add that to the list.
That's how you roll. And when you do things like audiobooks, you can change the transcript of it into a textbook. You can break apart the pieces into little snippets to put on social media. You've got your marketing already ready to go. If you do it while you're on video, you've got little video segments that can go out.
True.
So you're knocking out like 4 things at once. Because
now I'm just, I already have like 18 other things on the list for August, but somehow I'm thinking, how do we slide this thing?
You have to task layer.
How do we?
Because if you don't task layer, you can't get it all done.
We will definitely add that to the list. Okay, well, this brings us. Here's our next one. This is a good tie-in. Do you prefer in-person or virtual events? I know.
I have always preferred virtual.
Really? Always?
At least for the last 20 years.
Whoa.
A little over 20.
You're talking like 2000, 2004,
About
maybe
2001.
2001.
2001. Okay. The tech was there.
Mm.
And that's because Stacy likes to play on the bleeding edge of the tech. And the tech was there. And why didn't we use it? Because then we could meet people all over the world, and I could meet people that I would never meet otherwise. I don't have enough, there's not enough time, money, or connection to be able to go to X number of 3-day events throughout the year. You just can't, and you still aren't going to be able to meet the same way. There's something about online events that we got upset when, I mean, it took a pandemic for other people to join me in this adventure.
Okay.
And they talk about this thing called Zoom fatigue, which I have no clue what they mean. Oh, actually, I take that back. I figured that puzzle out. I thought they meant Zoom fatigue. But they said Zoom fatigue, but what they meant was meetings that didn't need to be freaking meetings, that were corporate meetings on Zoom fatigue.
We had that.
That's really what it was.
Yeah.
Zoom fatigue, and the reason I've never experienced Zoom fatigue is because my meetings are things like this, hanging out with people I love. The only thing I can't do is hug you right now. That's the only, if we could figure out how to do virtual meetings where we also were able to teleport over, give somebody a hug, then teleport over to somebody else, give them a hug. I think that's about the best of both worlds then.
I'm going to come back. I'm going to put a pin in this one. Because it's opened up a rabbit hole. It's opened up a sidebar for us. Definitely want to look into that one. And it was
you didn't expect,
it's so timely.
You didn't expect rabbit holes from the Squirrel Wrangler? What?
You know what? We are good for rabbit holes and sidebars here on Small Biz Bites. And I have to show it again because David has said, hey, your cover is designed. Call me girl. David, trust me. You know, like I said, my list, it stays with stuff. And Gwendolyn is just ticking things off the list. Just tick, 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 tick. But I definitely want to come back to that online thing. Only because it was it yesterday? It was yesterday. All the days are coming together. It's just Thursday.
Was yesterday like a 5-year day?
Yeah.
It was a COVID type day. Yeah, I get it.
Yes. Someone was asking why in a Go Brunch space, like so many people didn't turn their camera on. And I said, I have to assume, just for some people, it just could be that they went through COVID with the idea of being forced to show up or perform, right? Even though they were going through something, hitting the wall, and just didn't want to be seen in more ways than one. And now they're just kind of over it, or they could be multitasking. I don't know. But I want to come back to that online thing.
I love that. I love that question. I think we need to do a research study on it in Go Brunch.
Yeah, right? Number 4, eating in or going out?
Ooh. Is my husband cooking?
I don't know. Is he good? Because if he's not good, I mean, I'm just...
Yeah, depending on what he's cooking, it might be like, oh, hell, I'm staying home.
Yeah. I'm gonna let you decide on that one.
But I do enjoy one of my happy places is going to whichever bar my brother and his friends their bands are playing with, whichever band it is that day. Taking my watercolors, taking my iPad, and going and having a good meal, listening to my brother play music, and either doing digital art on my iPad or doing watercolor while they're playing music, and hanging out with other friends and family that are there. That's like one of my happy places. All
right. So we'll put you in the middle, a little bit of in, if the husband has the right dish.
Yeah, if it's biscuits and gravy, or if it's meat candy, which is pork. What's that stuff called? Pork belly that's been cut up, and I call it meat candy when it's cut right. Or if he's doing something like something smoked on the grill or smoked.
You like a good piece of pork belly, not gonna lie to you.
Yeah.
You
like a good piece ribs, of brisket. If he's doing some smoking on the grill, I'm staying home.
See, I'm staying in.
I can't get that stuff anywhere else.
Well, here's one that is slightly loaded. Because I like loaded things.
I'm kind of full of it.
Tea or coffee?
Oh. Oh. That one depends on the day and the type. Like, if it's tea and it's green tea, I'm gonna say no. If it's black tea, it's like if it's a good stout Scottish tea, a good stout hot tea, I'll take it. If it's an iced coffee, I'll take it.
Okay.
So it depends on. I think you got to put the hot or cold with it, and the color.
I let the people decide for themselves which
Oh,
way
see,
they
there you
want
go.
to go.
So I'm gonna have to go on the fence on that one, and with it's like when we go to a restaurant, we go out to eat, and I want this meal, but this side from another meal.
Yes.
And then can you change this sauce to this, and my husband's sitting there just doing this number.
He's like, this is not how the guy designed what was being served today. Just
He's like, can you not just order what's on the menu?
Yeah.
And then he orders and he just orders, I'll take meal X.
Yeah.
And then that's it. I'm like, no, if I'm going to pay money for it, I'm going to get what I want.
There is that. I do believe that. I mean,
I try not to be super complicated, but yeah.
I mean, there's a place for both. I mean, if you can't eat what's being served with it, maybe you have an allergy.
Yeah. Well, and even a dietary need, like I try and eat dirty keto.
Yeah.
And so like if I'm being good and there's potatoes on the thing, but I have the option to get a good roasted Brussels sprouts and like extra vegetables, I'm going to get extra vegetables. If the thing's got mayonnaise on it, I'm either not ordering it or I'm going to say, take that white.
You're not a mayo person? You don't like mayo?
So I don't like mayo or Miracle Whip unless, I'm just full of it. I told you. If it's mixed in potato salad, egg salad, chicken salad, I'll eat it.
Okay.
If it's Red Robin's barbecue sauce mixed with mayo for that crack sauce they put for your fries, I'll eat that. But white shit on a sandwich just slathered on there,
I like mayo. I like mayo at all times. My fries, my corn dogs, on my salad.
Pickles and mayo. But I'll eat cucumbers and I'll eat pickles if they're in potato salad. If it's chopped up,
but not just by themselves.
Not by themselves. Oh my God, no.
Oh my gosh.
Ain't nobody need that sour stuff in their mouth.
The food chain here. Hold on. Let me not get too far down the food chain.
Yeah, we can go all day.
I know, right? People want to know, first of all, who is this woman? So, Stacy, who are you and what is your superpower?
My name's Stacy Braiuca, and I guide humans to wrangle their inner squirrels so that they can live in peace and joy. And
talk about inner squirrels real quick.
Inner squirrels?
Yeah.
There's lots of inner squirrels. Our limiting beliefs about ourselves, baggage, negative emotions, the feeling that we can multitask as opposed to task layer, the fear that AI is going to rule the world, the fear that the fear about using technology, or that technology's making us do less, when as opposed to using technology to get more done in lots of ways so that you can build human relationships with the time that you save. I want to be able to do more of this right here because I have my business, some of the business stuff on automation that I don't have to worry about.
Well, that's a great segue. I love perfect segue because it just makes it so easy for me. So can we talk about your business and what inspired you to start it?
Oh, well, that part about fear of technology or about helping people with technology and the emotional part, I can give thanks to my pappy. So he had a stroke and he already suffered from Parkinson's and diabetes.
Really?
And then he had a stroke. And this man was very social. would go and, hang out with his buddies from church. He'd go and have coffee. He'd help with, projects here, there. And, when he was younger, I know he coached my uncle's baseball team, and they did scouting, and they did, he'd do stuff with, my mom and uncle. And then as growing up, I learned my sense of direction, north, south, east, and west, kind of driving stuff, and like where things are here in Kansas City, by going places with them, with my grandparents. So Pappy, I had a thing I gave him when I was younger that said, grandpas are for loving and for fixing things. That got passed off to my husband eventually, is now husbands are for loving and fixing things. But, he had this stroke, and he couldn't use his left side of his body. And as I was already a clinician, I was already a clinical social worker, and I knew that with the diabetes, with the Parkinson's, and now with this not being able to socialize, he was at super high risk for depression.
Wow.
Now, mind you, this was back in the late 90s, early 2000s. It was the early 2000s, because I was already in practice. And so I'm driving in between therapy appointments, because this was before they allowed me to do it on camera, even though I knew it was available. Oops, sorry, sidebar. And I called him. We got him a computer, and I taught him how to use that computer, how to use email, how to use the internet, how to, he typed out his story about being in China, Burma, and India during the war with one finger. Because he couldn't, he only had one hand anyway, but he henpecked that whole thing.
Wow.
And put pictures in it. He scanned it. He learned how to scan pictures in and he learned how to email his buddies from the war. He learned how to look up news. He'd pull off the news and things and print them for my grandma every day. A couple times I think I had to clear up his search history for him. That was hard for him to ask me to do, but I did. And I didn't mind doing it. But I did that all over the telephone on an fairly early cell phone while I'm driving in between appointments, by memory of knowing what was on his computer screen and telling him, okay, click here, then do this, then do that. And then if he'd get frustrated, I'd kind of talk him down. And that was the beginning of Stacy, like what I call technology therapy. Now, I don't call it technology therapy much because I don't want people to think they're getting mental health therapy from me as a clinician.
That makes sense.
Technology therapist is an amazing title, and it works great for marketing. But to protect my license, I don't use it as often. But what I do when I help people with different technologies, learning to use Go Brunch, learning to use Go High Level, which I am an agency owner for, learning to whatever they are with technology, helping my mother-in-law learn to use her new iPhone. We just switched her from Android to an iPhone, and any of those things. My superpower is going from being therapist in the moment when they're getting anxious and working on the anxiety or whatever that is, whatever the feelings that are generated, wrangling those inner squirrels, and then switching back to, okay, what's the task at hand? I approach helping people with technology the same way I do a therapy session. I do a history and figure out what it is they're using the technology for. Then I apply my tech knowledge and my therapy knowledge to go, okay, let's create a plan. Then how do we wrangle the squirrels in that plan? And then as we're doing the work, as I'm coaching them, I'm going back and forth, like I said, between the feelings and the tasks. And one of my superpowers is productivity, so you can get more done, so that you can spend more time on relationships and self-care. Because my mission is that people have more time they can spend on self-care because they've used the technology. So it's funny when friends they'll say, Stacy, you're always on the computer. You're always on the computer and stuff. How do you have any time for self-care? Or how do you have any time for social? And I'm like, you don't understand. it just looks like I'm on the computer all the time, because automations are posting things out and doing things for me while I'm out at the bar watercoloring.
You know what? Okay, so two things. One, shout out to our friend Reggie, who is joining us. And then two, when you said it just looks like, I was telling someone, it really was yesterday, because now I remember how I'm not that social. And they were like, what do you mean? It's like, it just appears that I'm social because a lot of stuff is auto posting, but it wasn't written like yesterday or wasn't written today. Some of that is even on a loop that it just repeats itself depending on what the
baby.
And it allows me to go out and spend time with the grandson, right? Because stuff is happening on its own.
Yeah.
So I don't even know where to go. I can't say I don't know, but I can't say I can't decide, because I have written down so many things that has just like running all the little firings in my brain
going in your head, don't you?
It's like it's going here because I have a lot of conversations just like you do, and I was sharing with someone how most people use maybe 5% of the features on their phone, and it came from a young lady on a social media platform, I'm not going to say where, who made a comment about QR codes and that people should stop using QR codes because we're on our phones and we can't scan them and all of these things. And the people in the comments kind of dragged her. They were like, well, if you knew how to use your phone, you would know that it can do all these things. And she was like, oh, I didn't know that. And I thought to myself, before we get out on a soapbox, and I love a good soapbox, trust, do your research, first of all. But the number of people who are not aware of all of the things that the technology in their home, in their possession can do, and how it can help them lead a more efficient life.
They don't know what they don't know.
And they don't know what they don't know until, I don't want to,
That's why I think it's really important to me to apply a principle I use as a therapist.
Yeah.
One of the core pieces of my being that came from being trained as a clinical social worker is called start where the client is.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I don't do that and find out what if you had a magic wand and technology could do anything you wanted it to do for you, what would it do? And then I start the brainstorm process, and I start eliciting what they want it to do. And we start talking about possible ideas, start talking about frustrations in their life. I use all of my therapy skills to pull out what they want it to do. Because technology, the way I use technology may not work for your mom, may not work for you, may not work for David, may not work for Larej. It may or may not. And so though I love the tools I use, and many times I have been on the bleeding edge, so I know about something 20 years before somebody else even starts learning about it. And that's just been how my life is. Now that I realize that, I know that people aren't going to be picking up something until years after I've been playing with it. So I have a multitude of possibilities for them that are in my head. But that still doesn't mean that that's going to be the thing that works for that person.
Yes.
So I help them find out what's going to work for what they want it to do. And then collaboratively, let's find the thing that works for you for it. So like we're on a platform right now called StreamYard. StreamYard might not have all the bells and whistles and things that work for somebody else. They may use Wave. They may use Zoom straight up. They may use...
I tried EV Mux once.
They may use layers of things. Like I would use Wave with screen sharing with GoBrush.
Yeah.
There's lots of different ways you can layer your technology. You can also layer what you're doing and your tasks in here. And you can layer them together.
I think to myself, there was back in the education days, we would often say to meet the student where they are.
Yes.
Because you gotta have an idea as to where somebody is, what they're open to, before you go giving them sun, moon, stars, a couple other like systems, and
I love David's
planet,
comment.
a black hole here and there. It's like, calm down, just calm down. Because I know how I do stuff, and I'm not a first gen person, Stacy. As much as I love technology, I'm not first gen. It's not built in me. I'm more like second gen, third gen, hopping on the bandwagon.
But at least you're not putting that to your age.
No.
I'm not, without bringing up our ages, because I have a feeling, I think we've had this conversation.
We can have it. We can. Okay, so we can do now.
And we can do age if you want to.
𝐂𝐤𝐿yn does age because I think it's a beautiful thing that the good Lord allowed me to get up this morning and see one more day. So I am happy to put my age out there.
And after you hit 50, especially as a woman, you can do whatever the F you want.
Yeah. Now I will say I have aged myself up. I've been known to do this thing where I give myself an extra 5 years. So like when I was when I was 35, I was 40. I was 40 for like 5 years, and I actually became 40, stayed 40 for a while, and then did my own age. And then like 2 years ago, I started saying I was 50, although I'm not 50 yet. But
so
it's a thing. I don't know.
So if you said, Stacy, I can't do tech stuff because I'm too old. And then I'd say, gee, how old are you? And you tell me I'm 50, I'm going to say, I was 50 6 years ago. Right? Like I'm getting older and older to where like people can't use the age excuse on me anymore.
I don't, it's
because it's an excuse.
I found myself when I was teaching adults in the previous life, nothing irks me more than people using age, both as a young person and as a more experienced person. It's like, oh, well, I've only done this, and I'm not good with computers, or oh, I've only been here, and I only use this. Like, I don't want to hear the excuses. I cannot wrap my head around.
But you know what excuses are? You know what excuses really are? Underneath excuses is baggage.
Oh,
it's baggage and limiting beliefs. I mean,
I like how you went with the clinical thought of it's baggage. I'm thinking that's that.
It's baggage, and that's squirrels that can help people wrangle.
Yes.
What do you mean you think you're too old for this, or you're not old enough for this, or you haven't done enough? No, we can knock that out so that you can truly do what you want to do in life, what you want to be, who you want to be, and have the things you want to have. Yes. And before David's that comment, computers will ruin everything.
That was the 80s.
I got a trivia question for you guys. Oh, and today it's a perfect day. August 1st, 1981.
Okay.
12:01 a.m. Anybody in the audience who remembers what might have happened 12:01 a.m., August 1st, 1981, and everybody's Googling that stuff.
Was that the first email being sent?
No, but you're warm, girl. You're warm, Gwen.
First text message?
Nope. No, those were before that.
First cell phone call? I'm going through all the first.
No, those are all before, probably before that too, actually. Nope, not the internet.
Okay. Oh, we do have. Oh,
I'm just waiting to see if some comments.
The internet was worse, but it's not the internet.
It was not the internet. The internet was born before that. Shout out to the
brother who's coming in with his hola.
Okay, so let's pin that one. I'll come back to it and I'll tell you. Or if it fits if it fits in the discussion, I'll bring it up and tell you what happened that day.
Okay. Before we go, and again,
what's so cool is that it was today in 1981.
Depending on where your brain lies, you're like, now if you gave me a Prince fact, I'd be like, oh, that's when so-and-so came out because it just turned 40 years old. Lorette says, my mom rounds me up to the nearest 10-year mark. So
10-year mark. Wow.
It works. I think it works. I think it works. What did he say? Okay, hold on.
Created by humans.
81 was a great.
It was okay. I'm going to say 80.
Clearly, we're not gonna. We know.
80.
I know why he feels like 81 was a great year for him. But okay,
Probably same reason I think 87 was a pretty
the
good year.
iPhone release, was that the
Nope.
iPhone release?
Nope.
Oh, people are gonna keep putting in their answers, putting in their ideas. See, I would think it'd have to be.
And if
like,
you're watching the replay, put the ideas in, because that way the answer won't be there yet.
yes, there you go. We'll have to come back to that.
And when I do bring the answer, don't put it in the comments so that
won't
people
put it in the
can't see it
comments.
ahead of time.
Yeah, no, we won't put it in the comments. But now I find myself saying, okay, well, what could it possibly be? Because I'm sitting here thinking, like, you know,
let's
of the
cruise back to your notes, because I have a feeling it might come up.
It might come up. Okay, so let me see here, because I know we were talking about technology, and I'm going to assume, let me assume that all of this works around, because I know we wanted to talk about the power of the unconscious mind. And I keep hearing what people are thinking. And I know for myself, both in being in a college setting at SUNY, and then being in adult education setting here in Texas, people do bring all these reasons why something can't happen. And in my head, I immediately hear, I should say, I don't hear the growth mindset of what I can do. Now, I'm old school, and I don't mind saying old school. We don't believe in can'ts. There is always a can. Now, I cannot and will not eat liver. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that out there. That's a can't, not doing it.
Well, I'll take the liver for you. That's okay. You take the pickles and the mayo. I'll take the liver.
Take the liver. But everything else becomes I'm going to go out and get it and see how far I go. And we do believe in Master Yoda, because you either go and do it or you not. We're not trying. So when I go out for the gusto. So when people say, I can't do this and I can't, I keep thinking, what else happened to you that put that idea in your head that I'm not good at math and I'm not good at, it's like, but who told you that? Like,
See,
who told you that?
You came real, you pointed right at why, the power of our unconscious mind. You pointed at it just then. I'm gonna let you
educate our viewers.
So one thing is, and it goes back. First, I'll just take us back before you were 6 or 7 years old. So if I were to say to you, "Hey, G, if I say, let me change that up.
Okay.
If I said, hey, G, 2 + 2.
4.
Why did you say 4 and not fish?
I don't know how to answer that question. I'm like, because
but think about, let that soak in for a bit. let that soak in.
Okay.
Right?
All right. So
and especially funny if mom's still here. Like when you were 2 years old, if somebody would have said, or 4 years old, maybe 4 years old, but let's go 2 years old. If somebody would have said to you, 2 + 2, what would you have said then?
I don't know if I was, I'm thinking to myself, like, what would I have said?
Yeah.
Probably something as I was rolling over on the ground, because I had a problem standing up. I probably would have said fish. I mean, I probably
fish, or you would have giggled and run away, right?
Yeah.
So if I say to you hot, what would you say?
Cold,
wet,
dry,
black,
white.
Why are all of those things in your head that way?
I don't know. I don't know, because I wouldn't say like they haven't always been there. I mean,
they haven't.
Yeah. But
just like this device that we're talking through needs to be programmed. And just like now we use a thing called natural language processing that creates things like GPT and AI that this machine gets programmed with. This machine right here gets programmed from the time we're born until we're about 6 or 7 years old, when we start developing our conscious mind. And our conscious mind then can take something like 2 + 2 and give an automatic response of 4. Now, if you notice, when I said 2 plus 2 to you, I didn't say, hey, gee, what does 2 plus 2 equal? All I actually said to you was 2 plus 2.
And I'm like, 4.
Yeah. And then when I said black, I didn't say, well, what's the opposite of black? What's the opposite color? Yeah. When I said hot, I didn't say what's the opposite. You just automatically went that way because your brain here has been programmed. Well, the cool thing about our brain is that we can actually go back and reprogramming it using neuro-linguistic programming, mental emotional release, and hypnosis. There's lots of ways we can reprogram our mind. So it's the one quote that my teacher, and in Hawaiian they call him kumu. My kumu teaches this quote that his dad had of, it's never too late to have a happy childhood. Because you can go back and reprogram this thing. So by the time we're about 6 or 7 years old, our programming, it's not that it's over, because we continue to program up here.
Yeah. But
there's a lot of things. Some of the things are the idea of can or can't.
Yeah.
The idea of worthiness, confidence, things about ourselves of whether we're good or not, or whether we're like little things. And it's little things that we don't always know about until later in life. Something may come up. Have you ever had a scenario where you're doing something's happening and you just automatically have a feeling that just surges right up and you don't know where it's from?
Yeah. Yeah.
The ones when you like, you even think about it and you're like, I don't even know. I don't know why. I mean, it just makes no sense. Why am I reacting to this thing?
Yeah.
It's very likely that that thing that you're reacting to is something that was programmed into you or happened before you had words.
That's
because if you can't put words to it, it means you don't have words to describe the thing, and that thing that whatever it is, that reaction. So something was programmed in and you don't have words because you didn't have words when the thing was initially programmed. Now, the really cool thing is you can go back and reprogram that stuff too. I help people go back and wrangle squirrels from this lifetime, from in utero, from past lives, and from other generations. Imagine, if you will, that you could go back in a previous generation in your family.
Okay.
And get a hold of something like the first time that there was anger about a career-related thing.
Okay.
And you were able to release that anger away from it. And not only did it heal you about career and anger, but it healed all the other generations in between you and them and all of their descendants.
That's letting go of a lot of baggage.
Yeah.
But
you can go back and let go of the baggage for your family, for other generations, for even people you've touched. And so that's one of the superpower. That's the thing I love about these processes is, and it goes back to the quantum physics as well. It goes back to lots of things in that, and you can go back and get a hold of those things. So that's neuro-linguistic programming with this thing. And then with this, with ChatGPT and those things and AI, it uses natural language processing.
So all right, explain that to us.
The name of the things that are behind ChatGPT are things they call large language models. Okay. Sometimes they actually have also small language models, but the basics is that is what creates AI underneath the ChatGPT, and they call it natural language processing.
Okay.
So things like Alexa, Google, Siri, I have to spell their names because otherwise they'll answer me.
Right.
Those are all forms of AI that we had before we knew what ChatGPT even was. We were already using AI and we didn't know it. And by the way, MTV knew what it was doing on August 1st, 1981 at 12
is that what that was?
when they played the first video on MTV. Does anybody remember what the first video on MTV was at 12:01 a.m.?
Wait. Video killed the radio star?
No Googles.
Is that what it was?
What?
Video killed the radio star?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, because the girl, hey, I now some of y'all may be a little young to remember that. So I like how Chris says this is the year Beyonce was born, but she wasn't on Earth until September.
Yeah. and she apparently she wasn't on MTV yet either, right?
She wasn't on MTV.
I had to keep my mouth. I had to keep my tongue bit.
Gwendolyn didn't cheat. There are some things in this brain.
Yeah, I knew it was going to be there.
Generation.
So MTV knew what it was doing when it played that video. Because they were wanting to shake up the industry. Right? And they did. They shook up an industry. They shook up an earlier generation that went, what the, video is going to kill the radio star. We won't have radio anymore. And the people, when radio came out, they were like, it's going to kill the newspapers. We won't have newspapers anymore. When the printing press came out, they're like, it's going to kill scribes. We won't have scribes anymore. Nobody will know calligraphy. Nobody will know how to write with their hands. And when fire, let's go all the way back to fire. AI is not going to take over the world or do anything bad. Humans do bad things with tools. Humans also, however, do really good, amazing things with tools. Mm-hmm. Tools help us ascend to the next level as humans. Mm-hmm. If we still had to make fire, find all our food, etc., would we be talking to each other across the planet over airwaves called the internet and learn about each other's cultures and be as rich and diverse and knowledgeable and have friends all over the planet? No, because video didn't kill the radio star. AI is not going to rule the world. It is a tool that we can use as a stepping stone with all the other things we know. We can program and we can continue to program this. This can program this. And we go, it's an iterative process where then we can level up so that we can spend time loving each other as humans.
Oh my goodness. I'm going to pass the collection plate. Hold on. Let me find my collection plate.
I am here all week, ladies and gentlemen. I am here all week. That was it.
People need to have that message though, because we keep, in my belief, when something new comes on the scene for a particular person, the first thing they go to is a place of fear.
Yes.
I can't explain that. I'm not that person. I'm a person who goes into, okay, well, how can this help me do all the other things I want to do in the world?
And you and I have that perspective. But however many people are on the planet right this second, there are that many different forms of internal representations of the world. And just because we're talking about a decision that's bipolar, has two poles, it's either technology, the change is going to be great for us, and how do we use it for our advantage, or change is going to suck and it's going to hurt me, right? And those are two programmed perspectives. So you and I are in the camp of, how can we use this? What's it going to do? And I'm in the camp of, I see something new on the bleeding edge and I go, ooh, what is this going to help humankind do in the next 20 years? And then I see video calls 20 years ahead of time, and then I start fighting for it and people call me crazy. I'm still letting go of that baggage. Okay. I'm still letting go of that baggage. For the most part I have, because I've realized that that's what happens. But those who see the fear, it's interesting because all of us as humans want the effects of change. We all want the output of that change is going to give, but we're terrified of doing the change.
Well, perfect.
And many times we're doing in when we look at change, and we're doing that, we are terrified of change. A lot of times, I'm going to say it's because of what we called the original excuses where we first started.
Yes.
Now we're back to the excuses.
Mm-hmm.
And under those excuses, I'm going to say there's baggage and negative programming. So the programming in here, there's something in the way. There's a baggage or a barrier or negative emotions or negative limiting beliefs about ourselves that cause us not want to be able to do the change. So the only way to do change is decide you want to. It literally is just a decision away. Yeah. Change is one decision away. CODA. Change is one decision away. And if you know music, what coda is that it's not over. Change is one decision away. You figure out that you want to. You figure out what is your responsibility and how you've done things in the past. You've got to know, how did I mess up, or what did I do wrong? What did I do right? What did I do wrong? What did I do different? What did I do whatever? What's my piece in it? Then the next thing is get rid of the limiting beliefs, negative baggage, emotions, those things. Mm-hmm. Get rid of all of it through whatever processes. Then you create a compelling new future. You might call it a SMART goal or a plan, things like that. Mm-hmm. Then you have to, you're not over yet. Just creating the goal don't work. and you've been doing this. You told me at the beginning, you've been doing this. You create the goal and you create that list, but then what you've been doing that is causing you to maintain that change is take action and maintain focus. You can't create a new goal, take action, or maintain focus unless you've gotten rid of the baggage that's causing your excuses. Mm-hmm. The baggage isn't necessarily there it's not a fault. That's the other thing is we think that, it's a fault in ourselves. Mm-hmm. Something's wrong with us. Mm-hmm. No, we just got crappy programming. We just need to get rid of the thing that either came to us in our lifetime or in a previous lifetime or previous generation. We just need to change that part. Then, just like a computer,
right?
You know, when a computer gets to run, especially Windows computers. I'm a Mac girl, but just when they get to running slow or something's wrong with them, you've got to clean them up. Mm-hmm. You've got to reorganize them. Same way with a desk, for that matter. You get too much stuff on your desk, you've got to reorganize it, right? But
you got to get it organized.
I'm going with the computer, or I'm going to actually both of the analogies work. With the computer, we used to do what we call defragmentation of the computer, where you defrag your computer. Well, you do getting rid of the baggage is like defragging this computer, so that you have more RAM available, random access memory, and more like what we think of as gigabytes and terabytes and whatever in our hard drive. You've got more RAM and more hard drive available up here after you've done the process of getting rid of that baggage, so that you have more space to be able to make that new plan, take that new action, and maintain focus. But you're not going to be able to do, if you don't have that RAM available and you don't have that hard drive available, you can't do it.
Yeah.
And it's not a fault. It's not a fault of anybody as an individual.
Oh my, that was a great analogy. I like how Black Eighth Element says you either fight or flight.
Fight, flight, freeze, or fawn.
Pass the plate. Break from Adobe AI to tune in. I am 59. Well, hello, sir. Hello to you, Mr. 59. We are happy to have you here today.
Love to have that. And thank you for this. I'll take the compliment of pass the plate. I'll take that compliment any day.
So I'm looking at the time thinking, oh my goodness, it goes by so fast. So tell me this, because a lot of people, and I know I'm speaking in like big general terms here, so just work with me, people. But there are people who will still say something is holding them back from just making that decision, because there really is making a decision. I know it sounds super easy, but it's letting go of the programming and getting in there.
Yeah.
What advice do you have for people who are watching this message today who have one foot in because they can feel this change and they want to wrap their arms around it, but something keeps holding them back? What advice do you have for them?
Well, that one I'm going to say you can't do it unless you get rid of unless you unless you clean it up, unless you get rid of the baggage, limiting beliefs, and the negative emotions, you're not going to be able to move that other foot.
Got to do some work. So we got to do some work.
You have to do the work, and if you're really looking at it, there's some very specific work to do, and we can't always do it by ourselves. I know the processes that I'm talking about, and I can't do my own myself. I can do some of it myself. I have been able to do some of it, but yeah, you do have to. You've got to do some kind of work to get rid of the things, because they're gonna keep coming back. They're gonna keep coming back. As a therapist, I was trained in a technique called cognitive behavioral therapy. Okay. It's not a bad technique. It's not a bad model. It's not a bad thing to use with people. But cognitive behavioral therapy does not go underneath the thoughts and feelings to get to the beliefs and the values underneath. And if you do not do heavy duty work in baggage, all of those things, and do values and beliefs work, those are going to keep driving the same behaviors over and over. You're going to come back to do the same thing. Old school, before we had asphalt on the roads, or think about, going to the west from, the east in covered wagons, and you're talking about ruts that built the roads, and you keep driving on the same road, you're going to be in those same ruts. If you don't move the wagon off of it, fill the ruts in, and if you don't heal the way the ruts are filled, you're just going to make another set of ruts, and you're going to be in the ruts again.
Yeah.
You've got to get rid of this. You've got to get rid of the stuff. And that's as much experience with getting rid of some of my crap than otherwise. And I love Apple every day, all the time.
I'm going ahead. Look, I'm Team Samsung, so it is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
I still love you, G. I still love you. We'll help you get to the easier stuff someday.
That'll be a separate conversation. So for you and I to have, we can bring it to this audience too. But so tell me this as we wrap this up, because it has been great. And I do want our viewers to be able to reach out and connect with you and perhaps have their own conversation, because I do know you have some open spaces. How can folks connect with you?
Best way to connect is stacybraiuca.com/connect. And there are some different ways on that to connect. And I'm putting it in the chat, but it doesn't go in all of the comments. It only went on YouTube for me. Yeah. So if you can copy that one over.
We will make sure that we put it into the LinkedIn chat. We'll make sure that it gets in there.
And I realize Braiuca is hard to spell. I get that. The other thing you can do is you could go to squirrelwrangler.com and check out the enchanted tree over in Go Brunch. You can talk to the Squirrel Wrangler in a bot over there if I'm not around. You can leave me a message there if I'm not around. And there's going to be more happening at squirrelwrangler.com in the future. But it's a Go Brunch space that where the squirrel hangs out around the enchanted tree and helps people deal with wrangling their inner squirrels.
I have to say, you left us with a lot to think about and sort of take in.
I appreciate the audiobooks take 13 hours now.
We appreciate that MTV moment. Lord knows. I was like, wait a minute. I shouldn't know this. I should know something. It's like, oh yeah.
I could have done that. Da 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 da. And
I do remember the video
about Prince. I was like, Stacy, don't tell her. Because I could have gone 1999 on you or Raspberry Beret. Oh, I could have gone so many places.
And I must say that I have a Purple Rockers room in my Go Brunch space. So.
My brother plays at a Purple Jam every year. In Kansas City. You need to come to Kansas City and go to Purple Jam. I'll go with you.
I'm going to have to put that on the calendar. Put it on the calendar. Something about Prince fans. We just get together and stuff just like happens. It just
you see why the happy space is going to hear the band play?
Yeah.
They play a lot of Prince.
Oh, people, everybody who has tuned in this afternoon, thank you for giving us this hour. Stacy, thank you for bringing your brilliance to the Small Biz Bite stage. I'm going to show it again because David said, thank you, ladies. My mother said it was a great show. I appreciate everybody who showed up today and who will watch in the replay as well. If you're on LinkedIn, we will definitely get that link to Stacy over there because we want you guys to connect with her. Clearly, she's got a lot going on that should be in this computer. We may need to do some defragging, some reprogramming, all those things. Before we forget, look at that!
We're back to all the things. Purple. Thank you, Black Eighth Element.
Oh, David, hey,
David's rolling with us on the purple.
Yeah, you're gonna do a road trip. So before we get out of here, make sure you sign up on the 𝐂𝐥𝐿 email list. Get the latest and greatest for all the podcasts. You can definitely get on that list. There's never enough G in your life. I mean, I say that now, but sometimes I'm just too much for myself. So I should probably put an asterisk next.
You are never too much.
Lady.
I appreciate you. And you know where some of this is coming from is I could have not been here today because I had some things happen this week, but there was no way I was missing my G time. Nothing was keeping me from my G time.
I was like, should we do a reschedule? Because I'm about making sure that we take care of ourselves first. You're like, nope, I can do it. And you definitely did bring all of you to the stage. And I know that our viewers are going to sincerely, those who were here live, sincerely appreciate it. And those who will watch the replay will also appreciate it. I want to say to all you out there, first of all, because I am that person, Hall of Fame tonight for anybody who's a football fan. Andre Johnson gets inducted, and the Texans, I'm going to go ahead and call it, will win this afternoon. I should say evening, because I know it's preseason, but I am that person. I'm going to go ahead and start up that foolishness. I am not a Dallas Cowboys fan.
Yes. As long as they're not playing the Kansas City Chiefs.
No, they're not.
Because
they're playing the Bears.
We're going for a three-peat, baby.
Oh, Stacy, see now it was going okay until you brought up some other stuff. It's going all right, but
I'll cheer for the Texans as long as they're not playing Chiefs. I'm good.
They're not playing the Chiefs right
I'll be
now.
all right.
When that time comes, the trash
we'll just love each other.
Will be coming.
Yeah, I'll take that.
All right, everybody, you guys enjoyed the rest of your afternoon. We will see you all on the next Small Biz Bites. Thank you for watching another episode of Small Biz Bites with Gwendolyn R. Houston Jack, where we chat with other creatives and small business owners about their journey. And we also invite you to like, share, and subscribe to the 𝐂𝐿 Houston Jack YouTube channel, where you can get the latest and greatest.